today I want to talk about the past 6 months, the adventure I went on, and the way in which it has impacted me mentally, psychologically, and physically in so many different ways. And while there's no way, really, to put this into words exactly, how my life has changed since I left my 9 to 5, gave up my apartment, sold most of my stuff, I'm gonna try my damn hardest. So, here's what this year has done to my mindset, my mental and physical health, my body, and my goals for the future. So, as a very broad outline, for the past 1.5 years I have been homeless. I gave up my apartment and I gave up my job in order to pursue my passions of eating disorder recovery coaching, sharing the kind of content I'm sharing now, traveling the world, and eating all of my meals out. Basically, I traded my average, very happy life for something a lot riskier, but also a lot of fun. Initially, I'd say I probably ate at least one meal out every day. And then about 6 months ago, we decided to take that one step further, move to Asia, and eat most of our meals out, and give up most of our other control. I posted quite a few what I eat in a day during this time, but let's recap the kind of meals that I had in each of these different places. So our journey started out in Greece, where we loaded up on the pastries and baked goods, after which we made our way to our first real longer-term destination, Thailand. Here we tended to have our breakfast in, try out all of the nice exotic fruits, eat some of our more standard go-to meals like oats, but then for our lunch and dinner, we'd usually go out for curries, fried noodles, street food dishes, and it was pretty lush. It was also pretty salty and fatty and spicy and quite intense, which took a bit of getting used to, but can't say it was bad. Both Tom and I really enjoyed just finding all of these lovely hidden gems, trying out new traditional cuisines we'd never even heard of. And I also took great joy in trying out all of the many different sweetened soy milks in the supermarket every single night. In terms of snacks, we had bread, peanut butter, fruits, snacky nuts, those soy milks, and a lot of mango sticky rice. We had our go-to place for that too, and the guy recognized us pretty quickly, especially because we stayed in one accommodation for a good 2 months. Because we stayed in that one accommodation for a longer period of time, we also did cook some of our own meals because we got to know all of the restaurants and started to miss some of our own home comforts, particularly pasta. But once we did leave this accommodation and moved on to our next places, we were all over the place and went back to eating out for most of our meals yet again. So after being on the islands in Thailand, we went to the mainland for a bit, after which we travelled down through Malaysia and went to Bali. Here, our hotel provided us with breakfast every single morning, an absolute luxury. And so now we ate all of our meals out. In fact, most of the meals that we did eat, we ate at the hotel, but it was either prepared by the hotel or it was takeout, grab food, as they called it, so that I could dedicate my time to work, coaching, recovering from COVID and food poisoning as well, and taking a lot of rest because I really felt like I needed it at that time. So breakfast would generally be pancakes, though sometimes we also went for fried rice or fried noodles, fresh fruits, and fresh watermelon juice. For the other meals, as I said, we had takeout, so this was usually any of the Balinese traditional meals. It included a lot of peanuts, peanut sauce, again, lots of rice, lots of fried in batter kind of things. And for snacks, we had cinnamon buns, nuts, crisps, fruits. Again, the usual. Or we just have leftovers, especially because we were ordering food. We like to order a lot. I think in Bali, compared to Thailand, maybe because we were on the islands and the islands were a little bit more touristy, food was even cheaper than before, and we could get a decent meal for like £1 or £2, and we were living the life. And of course, I kept my soy milk addiction alive too. After Bali, we went to a place where food was cheaper still. In fact, my favorite restaurant had office lunches, so they threw everything together for just 50p. And in Vietnam, again, lots of rice dishes, lots of tofu dishes, but we also found that there was a lot of mock meats. There was a lot of fully vegan restaurants everywhere because of the religion. It was honestly everywhere. So yeah, we ate a lot of traditional Asian dishes, but also some more Western dishes because we found that in Vietnam it was a little bit more westernized. So we had some banh mi's, more bread-based items, pastries, cakes, etc. It was lush. Also, the actual Vietnamese kitchen itself, the cuisine was actually my favorite of all of them, just because of the way they used their different spices, all of the different herbs. It felt really cozy and comforting, so I will definitely be going back there. A staple when we were in Vietnam was also the very non-Vietnamese banana bread, because we found a little local bakery, Le Bordeaux in Da Nang. If you're ever there, check it out. And between 6 and 8 in the evening, they always discounted all of their breads, all of their pastries, and their bread was bomb, but their banana bread was out of this world bomb. Throughout all of this food feast, I worked from home 4 out of 7 days, usually took three-day weekends, definitely made sure to finish on time in the evening as well. So in addition to eating well, I rested well. And that also included active rest, the kind of rest I like to take on holidays, which means sightseeing, climbing mountains, strolling along the beach, all of that fun stuff. In Thailand, Tom and I also bought and later sold 2 mountain bikes to go and explore all the scenes. So I ate well, rested well, and self-cared well. Because gyms were generally really cheap in all the places we visited, no more than £10 a month. We also signed up to a few of those and went to those, no pressure, at our own pace, whenever we wanted to, whenever we felt like moving our bodies. And by the time we usually arrived at the gym, we'd already be sweating like buckets because no aircon. But yeah, there was never this feeling of needing to work out or needing to do this or that. Throughout those 6 months, it genuinely just felt like we ate what we wanted, we rested when we wanted to, we moved if and when we wanted to. And that's the way it should be. And it was honestly lovely. To look after my health, I made sure to take my B12 and my iron tablets, but except for that, as I said, I was just living life. And that kind of lifestyle, that more relaxed, laid back, take things as they come, that's something I'll definitely be taking with me into the future. So, when I came back, I looked at myself in the mirror. I weighed myself. And guess what? Except for a tan, which in this lighting is completely gone, but on the whole has pretty much sadly disappeared, I was still the same me. My weight was probably the exact same it had been when I left to go to Asia. So in spite of eating what I wanted to, doing what I wanted to, clearly my body knew how to regulate itself. And in the past, that's something I would have doubted, questioned, feared. But by now, I know that my body's clever. I wasn't surprised. My weight hadn't changed, my body composition hadn't changed, and I've now also booked into a blood test once I finally managed to get my NHS appointment. I doubt there'll be anything massive flagged up there. So on the whole, I'd say that my health is pretty much as it was. My body is pretty much as it was, and the same issues that plagued me before are still there. The same issues that never plagued me to begin with, never got to plague me. I feel like I worded that in the worst possible ways. What I'm trying to say is that if I did have any issues before, they weren't magically solved by getting on a plane, selling my stuff, leaving my life. But equally, giving up my cushy life and taking that risk didn't lead to any detriment either. As I said, I'm still the same old me. Before I left, I struggled with some of my PCOS symptoms, for example. That's still there. Equally, any weird diseases, any food poisoning, whatever I picked up in Asia, I managed to kill off before I came back. So, on the whole, I am the same old me that I was. Does that mean that the whole 6 months were a waste of my time, my life, my money? Absolutely not. As I said, I absolutely love this experience and I gained so much from it. Well, physically, I'm the same person. Mentally, psychologically, I do feel like there has been a transformation. And that doesn't mean that if I'd gone on this trip when I'd been deep into my eating disorder or my depression, that would have been the same. I think those are things you can't just shake off quite as easily just by changing your context. But because I was really receptive to this experience at this time in my life, I was open to the experience. And I let it lead me. During our time away, I dedicated 4 out of 7 days to work and 3 to exploration. During those 4 days, you bet I was focused on my work, my passion, growing my business. I've now got a whole bunch more clients than I did to start out with. And I love working with each and every one of you. Now that I'm back, I do actually have a few more spaces opening. So if you think that one-to-one coaching could be for you, obviously check that out. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that by doing this, work became less of a must-do, but more of a want-to. I rediscovered my passion for YouTube, for coaching, for everything that, well, maybe before the travel just started to lose a little bit of its shine. And that's because I was juggling it. I was balancing it with a hectic life, working 2 jobs, working 3 jobs, working all night, working all weekend. And now I'd found that balance between work and life outside of work. Suddenly that was a whole different story. Taking my evenings off to relax and get a good night's sleep. Taking my weekends off to recharge and just put my mind on something else. Allowing these creative juices to actually flow when they had to, but leaving them to take rest. It is a game changer. If you're struggling with that kind of perfectionism or workaholism, I recommend you do the same. Take a plane, fly to Asia, come back, see what that does to you. Or if you don't go to Asia and don't choose to travel, just actually take breaks, take weekends. It's transformational. It honestly opened my world up to a new level of relaxation and self-care. For the first time in my life, I was taking weekends. I was taking days off of social media and my phone. I was taking days off to do what I wanted to do and even to feel a little bit bored. Boredom is not necessarily a bad thing. We don't need to be constantly entertained or constantly productive. We really don't. Our brains are allowed to turn off for a bit. Again, transformational stuff. If this seems like super clear cut and straightforward to you, well done. It didn't for me. In addition to this, just the lack of planning in most of Asia, while stressful at first, gave me a new perspective on life and gave me a bit more of a just go with it attitude, which allows for a lot more spontaneity and can be good fun. Lastly, while in Bali, we obviously had our breakfast prepared for us, so that left my mornings with a bit of extra time to do some morning stretches, listen to AD soundscapes, not get into work as soon as I open my eyes. This too made me a lot less stressed, made me a lot more fun to be around. Just honestly changed my personality. And that's something, again, that I will be taking with me. In turn, this has influenced my life goals. I loved not having a base. I loved discovering new places. But it also made me realize how I like to have a home, and how at the moment I don't really feel at home fully anywhere. So Tom and I are buying a house. In addition to this, I will be treating my job like a 9 to 5. I'll be taking days off, evenings off, but still pouring my everything into this business, because this business is my everything. I'm actually thinking of maybe adding on a podcast as well, maybe adding on a newsletter. So if any of these ideas sound interesting to you, let me know below. And alongside all of these things, alongside this newfound balance, is friends and family and my priorities. What about you? Have you ever had a transformational experience like this? What are your priorities right now? What are your goals? Just let's have a chat. Comment whatever the hell you want to below in the comment section, and let's chat. I think I'll leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this catch up. See you soon.